Okay, Bill, you briefly addressed one of the criticisms that people had with your campaign. One of the things we heard a lot from Mr. Todora and from his backers were that you're totally in the pocket of a certain group of developers or people who want their property values lowered, and as soon as you get in, you're going to lower all their property values. What do you have to say about that?
You know, one, it's illegal, and the other thing, I had to laugh when I heard that because, you know, there are people like Lee Wetherington who has donated millions of dollars to the Boys and Girls Club and millions of dollars to this community. People like Albert Yorger, a big supporter who founded Sarasota Conservation Alliance. People like Zeb Portanova, who has dedicated most of his year to improving Habitat for Humanity. Henry Rodriguez, who writes checks all the time to every social or charitable organization that asks. And, I mean, do you really think any of those people, one, they don't need the money, and would any of those people ever lower themselves to come and ask me to do something illegal? I mean, that's so far from the truth. There's state laws that prohibit it, but, I mean, the group of people that were supporting me, you know, Bob Wechter, a large property owner that's stepping down from the Republican committee, he would never ask somebody to do something illegal. And so that was just...
But there had to be a reason for you to run. There had to be. You're going to run against a longtime incumbent. You obviously had a platform in which he's not doing his job properly, and that's why you're running. What was your primary? What do you want to do differently? Well,
when we ran the campaign, the whole thing was about fair assessments. When he is over-assessing people's property, they're paying too much tax. He's not a people person. There's a gentleman that came to me during the campaign. Two-story house, and the second floor of the house only encompassed 1/3 of the upstairs. The downstairs had a huge gable or exposed ceiling, and so he was being assessed as there were 2 complete floors in the house. He took one of the deputy appraisers out there and said, "Can you see where you've made the mistake?" And they said yes. State law allows that mistake to be corrected immediately. Mr. Todora's policy, which was always against the property owner, said, "We'll fix it next year. Sue us if you don't like it." And that was really the attitude. Our property appraiser has more residential lawsuits against him right now than any other property appraiser in the state that I can find. Most of those things are resolved. He just kind of likes to get into lawsuits, and he likes to take a approach that I'm right, you're wrong.
Tell us how things will be different as far as people challenging their appraisals. How has that worked, and how will it work under the Furst administration?
I think what you'll see with us is we're going to be consumer friendly. We're not going to give away the store, but when somebody comes in, we're not going to open the door with, "Hi, we're right, you're wrong." We're going to listen to their story, and if their story has merit, then, you know, we'll correct it right there on the spot. And some people come in and they just say, you know, my taxes are too high. Well, I can't help them with that. But, you know, if their property is overassessed, and there was a house in Amberley that we used in the campaign a lot, that the person had it on the market for $125,000 less than it was assessed for, and he had listed it in December, so it was on the market on the magical date of January 1st. He should have been able to walk into the property appraiser's office and say, January 1, I couldn't sell it for within $125,000 of your assessment, and it should have been just corrected right then and there. And their attitude was, go to the Value Adjustment Board, and we'll fight you.
Now, you were elected in August, so you don't take office till January, so you've had 4 months to kind of get up to speed on the property appraiser's office. How many employees do they have?
He's scheduled for 73. He has never maintained a full staff of employees, and that's been one of the things that he's always been proud of, that, you know, he works under budget and everything else. But since he lost the election, he has been on a hiring spree. And I heard today he hired somebody else today.
So he's still hiring people even though this is his last month in office.
It's an old political trick, you know, fill up the office, make the new guy's budget look worse. And so, you know, he can turn around and say,
you spent more money in 09 than
I've spent more money.
I see. Your budget is much higher. I get it. Now, since the election's over, though, there's been some news reports about what have you been invited in by Mr. Todora? Has he taken you around, introduced you to the staff, gotten you up to speed on the office?
No, he doesn't want to talk to me. So, you know, and I think that was pretty much vetted in the paper. It is so bad that if the new budget went into effect October 1st, And so I go in and I have to do a Freedom of Information Act. Like if you want information, you go in and request information. He charges me $30 an hour to have somebody research it, and then 15 cents a copy. And when I give him a check, only then will he process it.
Oh, so that's the only way you can get information out of the office. Has any of the employees of the office, without naming names, has any of the employees of the office kind of contacted you since the election and tried to get information to you and work with you?
Yes, but you know, and I really can't go much into that because the few that he has found out about, he has made their life miserable. He just and you know, there are people in there that still feel that they could get fired in the last month. They'd be hired right back, but still, there's just, you know, I'd make their life miserable by talking too much about that.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to go to any of the property appraiser seminars for the elected property appraisers? Have you had a chance to do any of that stuff?
I went to 2 of them. I went to one in Reno to an organization that I belong to, the International Association of Assessing Officers, and that was a great convention. And I went to one over on Hutchinson Island, and it's a smaller group of the Florida chapter. And apparently my presence there made him so uncomfortable. He was there with his wife, and that the next convention that I was going to go to, which was last week, I was asked not to come because he was uncomfortable being in a room with me.
So he objected to you even going to the conference?
Yes.
Because he would be uncomfortable being in the same, and you're the incoming property appraiser for the county.
Yeah, and he's just spending our taxpayers' money going. I mean, he's certainly not bringing anything back that's going to help people.
So he's going at taxpayer expense.
Correct.
How have you been going? Is the county pay for your
No, I really can't charge anything against the office until I take off.
You're spending your own money.
So yeah, absolutely spending my own money. But it's good. It's my education.
Wow. Well, I think we've got a pretty good sense of what's going on here.
But you know, one thing I do want to answer or bring up.
Go ahead.
There was a letter to the editor in the paper about, well, if Mr. Furst can't hit the ground running on January 6th, we elected the wrong person.
Yeah, I saw
and you
that.
know, there are people that sit there and say, well, you know, just stay out of the office and go in. But you know, there's little details. One of the little details is that he's no longer allowed to sign checks on January 6th. And on January 9th, payroll comes out. And there's 6 or 7 people in there that don't have direct deposit, so they have to have a check issued, so there has to be an account there, there has to be a signature card, there has to be things so that can be processed. Sure. And he doesn't even, you know, let people think about that. I mean, it's just you stay out of the office till January 6th. Fortunately, I'm getting a lot of help from the other constitutional officers that are seeing that there aren't any, you know, real problems.
Well, that's it. We're out of time. We were going to get to our Weasel of the Week, but this stuff was way more interesting than that. We'll hit our Weasel next week. That's it for Clout 941. Check us out on YouTube also. Type in Clout 941 and you can watch all of our past episodes. See you next week.
You ready? Let's go!